right, thanks for coming out. We're here today. My name is Mike Jalazada, Fire Marshal, City of Charleston, Julazadeh. I'm here with Interim Fire Chief John Tippett and Mayor Tecklenburg. Want to give you a briefing on the fire that occurred this afternoon at 48 Smith Street and the alarm that came out at approximately 3:20 p.m. I'm going to turn it over to Chief Tippett to give you a rundown on the operations that occurred today and where we're at right now.
Good afternoon, I'm John Tippett, Interim Fire Chief, Charleston Fire Department. Units were dispatched at 15-20 hours this afternoon. First unit arrived 3 minutes later and reported a heavy fire condition in a very large, old, historic Charleston home. Fire was spread throughout the building when we arrived. We called for a working fire dispatch, which brought 2 additional engines and ladder. Then we called for a second alarm, which was an additional 4 engines, ladder, heavy rescue, and then ended up calling for a third alarm, which is another group of 4 engines, ladder, and heavy rescue, primarily for heat and the fact that the fire was spreading very rapidly. Right now, we have the fire contained to the main fire occupancy at 48 Smith. There were 2 adjoining occupancies that were also involved. Firefighters were able to cut that off. Right now, we have 2 firefighters that were transported for heat-related injuries, and several others are being evaluated. Heat index is about 101. We're trying to keep our working time periods to about 15 to 20 minutes before we rotate crews. We have units from Charleston Fire, St. Andrews Fire, North Charleston Fire, James Island Fire, and Mount Pleasant Fire on scene. And then our neighboring departments, along with other city units, are backfilling stations. Anything else I can help you with?
Was there anyone inside the home at the time?
Well, we did not have any reports of anybody actually in the structure. We did have 1 occupant that broke through the fire line and ran back into the structure. Firefighters were able to grab her, but she did make it into the building. She was also transported. Mike can talk a little bit more about any injuries she might have suffered.
Any idea on how long it's going to take?
We're probably going to be here another 3 to 4 hours at least. Yeah, we are evaluating the structure for some collapse potential. It's been burning for a long time. It's a very aged structure. As you know, from the other fires we've had in the downtown area in historic buildings, they can take a lot of punishment, but after a certain amount of time, they get tired. So we're keeping an eye on that.
Anything you can say about that fire that was about a mile away from here that started maybe about an hour or so before this one?
Yeah, very unusual to have back-to-back fires like that downtown. But again, it was a fire that was well advanced when we arrived. Crews made a quick attack. Some of the crews from that fire came directly to this fire, so the crews were pretty well worked out.
Do you think it's any connection between those 2 fires?
I couldn't tell you right now.
And what about the smoke? What's the dangers for the smoke around here? Is there any danger from the smoke going to the other houses?
It's ventilating pretty well. The heat of the day is allowing it to rise. For a period of time, it banked down and probably was very smelly. I advise everybody, open your windows, let the house air out really well. If you have an asthma, you might have some reaction to it. You could experience a headache if you haven't smelled smoke like that. But if there's any concern, see your physician.
The neighbors that live in this area, when will they be able to get back into their homes? Will it be tonight or tomorrow?
That's good to be determined. Not really sure right now.
With that person running back into the fire court, was there pets in the building?
I believe she went back to retrieve her cat. Something we don't advise people to do, obviously.
Okay, and do you know how many people lived in the home?
Not yet.
Okay.
And the home, I've heard 3 apartments, 4 apartments. Can you clarify on that?
Can't right now. Not sure.
Okay.
And you guys are digging the sidewalk up here. Like, what is this going to do to help, I guess, battle the fire?
The gas company is doing that. There is not a shutoff located anywhere nearby without affecting blocks of the city's gas supply. So gas company decided that they would cut the street on either end, pinch the line off to limit the amount of service disruption. Power company also was able to cut the power. They were able to cut the power from Wentworth up to Bull Street.
Okay. Do you know
when that power will be restored?
Once we get finished, if you notice, there's an aerial ladder up in the air spraying water. Once we get done and get out of the air, then they'll turn the power back on.
were any other residents besides the one that was on fire evacuated?
Not to my knowledge. So.
And do you know, have any other pets inside?
Not that we know of.
And was the cat retrieved, or was the cat still inside?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
And have you guys been able to contact the person who actually owns the home?
I haven't met the homeowner yet. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, he did show it. He's here. Yeah.
And then Mayor Tecklenburg, what made you come to this fire?
To commend the incredible professionalism and bravery of the Charleston Fire Department. It's just amazing their response time and their rapid response to controlling this fire and keeping our citizens safe. We should all be proud of them and remember every day that they are on call for us.
Has there been a fire to this level anytime recently? This seems to be kind of the first time that I've seen fire crews responding to this, but I've only been here for a few years. Talk a little bit about that, about the last time you had a fire this large.
Well, there was a similar structure fire not too far from here. It happened to be my grandparents' old home at 42 Rutledge Avenue. What was that, about 6 or 8 months ago?
Yeah.
And then there was a number, you say you have a number of fire crews, and I actually see a stretcher going back now. Was there any kind of water pressure issues or anything with, having to get fire out?
I wouldn't say the water pressure issue. We asked for the water department to increase the pressure for us because as the fire was advancing, it's a large wooden structure. So what we need in the way of water, using heavy batteries and streams is going to require a lot more than what you'd normally expect. So water company should be able to boost the pressure, and that'll give us enough water to do what we need to do.
You're not sure which level the fire started on?
No, not at this time.
Yeah, so no word on what started it yet.
Not yet. Yeah, that'll be up to Chief Jalaza's department.
Okay.
By the way, this is Councilmember Mike Seekings, who is faithfully on the scene, being this is his district, but he also happens to live right next door to the fire.
Well, then there you go. So Mike Seekings, Councilman Mike Seekings, tell us what you saw and what this situation was kind of like for you out here.
So the first thing I can tell you, when I got here, our fire department was fully engaged. All our public safety people were here, and as you know, we're here in a very dense downtown residential neighborhood, and unfortunately we had a structure on fire, but the neighbors, got the service of a lifetime from our fire department today. A major fire in the middle of downtown, just at one structure, is really actually amazing. I do live in the adjoining property. I was never actually worried that our fire team wouldn't get out there and do the job. So it was a big fire for sure.
How long are people who live in the house?
I know the owner of the house, yes.
How long have you lived in this area?
I've lived here for 10 years, so this is the first big fire we've had right in this neighborhood. But like I said, we've had some others downtown, and one thing I would like to just let everybody know is we have a public safety team in this city that is second to none, if there's any question about it. Today was, absolute evidence of it. It's amazing the job that they did containing this fire in the middle of the most densely populated part of downtown.
Right, absolutely. Can you explain a little bit to people who might not be familiar with downtown, where we are and what we're close to? I understand we're close to MUSC.
So we're right in the middle of downtown Charleston in Halston Village. We call it Mount Charleston, right in the high part of downtown Charleston. It's the oldest village downtown. We're right near Roper and MUSC, right around the corner from Memminger School. And this is an old part of the city, and today's structure actually was a wood structure, and you know how fast those go up, and so it's really amazing. This is a structure, by the way, that had an adjoining wall with the next structure, and that was saved. So really amazing work by our fire department in an old part of a historic city. Hard job. These guys, if you go and look at those guys in the street, they worked really hard today, and they served their community proudly.
And have any of the firefighters, how are they doing? Any of them suffered any illnesses? Because it is very hot out here.
Yeah, we had 2 transported as precautionary. We have others that are being evaluated. Dehydration is a big issue. I also want to emphasize how well our automatic aid agreement worked as well. It was a joint effort between city and our neighboring departments. And we're so very fortunate to have that type of response and ability to call additional help as we need it.
Can you tell us how many streets you have, like exactly what streets you have blocked off?
We're blocked off from where at Wentworth.
Between Wentworth
to Bull.
and
Smith.
Wentworth and Montague on Smith.
Yeah.
Can you please reiterate again? People are asking, was anyone hurt? Can you reiterate that?
We've had several people transported, firefighters, 1 civilian for minor injuries. The firefighters transported for heat-related injuries. The civilian, I'm not sure why she was transported. It could have been for excitement. I'm not really sure.
So as we wrap up, I just want to reiterate that the street's going to be closed for a while. We ask people to avoid the area. It's going to be at least 2 hours before the gas company is done cutting the gas line in the street. So we may be out of gas for a short period of time. We hope power be restored shortly later this evening. If we have any additional information, we'll schedule a follow-up. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.